guys don't know, this was a Roger Corman film, and it was made for literally, about $300,000. And that was not a lot of money. And, but, you know, Roger and his crew of people really enjoyed the process of making films. I know that Roger gave my brother his start in the business. Also, I got to say one thing here before we start. I've seen Angels and Demons, and it's a really, really good picture. And my big brother told me to make a plug for the movie. So here I am making a plug to all you fans of cinema. Go see Angels and Demons.
You have a brother?
Yes.
Never heard of him.
Eagle Bauer Enterprises is the name that stands for quality. It really is, it's really fun to see the movie, and it also is really odd, as long ago as that movie was made. I still remember the majority of dialogue that I had in that picture, and in fact I was just working on Heroes that Alan Arkish directed this episode I was in, and I was able to recite that complete line, the one-handed approach to strap-up fastening is a basic skill that must be mastered. He was pretty impressed that I knew all the dialogue, and it's just, listen, I say that because the experience of working on Rock and Roll High School was extremely memorable for me.
One thing that stood out was you had a lot of scenes in that van, and you were telling me something about that Warlock van.
That Warlock van was not a van that was built for the movie. That was somebody's van. You gotta remember, this was 1978 or 1979 when we shot this, and those vans like that were happening in Southern California. And that fellow that we used his van, he auditioned that van, and that van won the role. And also, if I remember correctly, I don't think Vince and I were drinking stunt liquor, if you know what I mean.
What other bands do you know that were under consideration for the lead?
Well, actually, Cheap Trick was offered the role. I'm not sure about Devo, but I do know about Cheap Trick, and it came down to dollars and cents. And at the time, it was just when In Color was breaking, which was Cheap Trick's breakthrough album. But they wanted more than Roger was willing to pay. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the figure that I heard that the Ramones got for the movie. Now, this is the 4 musicians. This is their road manager. This is them performing in the movie and doing all the music for the movie. They got a grand total of $20,000. And I think Cheap Trick wanted $100,000. And Roger didn't know the difference. Roger was not a rock and roller. And the Alan Arkish chose the Ramones. Devo may have been under consideration, but at the end of the day, I'm sure it was mostly financial. And you know, as it turns out, the Ramones were a wonderful pick for this movie. And I doubt if the movie would have had sort of the cult staying power that it's had it been any other band other than the Ramones. And one little anecdotal note, I became good friends with Johnny. He's not a neighbor of mine within a mile or two of each other, but he lived in the San Fernando Valley and I lived in the San Fernando Valley. And we did become friends over time, and what a wonderful man it was. And I was so sorry. I was personally really hit hard when he passed. And I know Joe, I didn't know Joey hardly at all. I met him a little bit working on the movie, but I got to be friends with Johnny. And what a wonderful guy, and he would have really, really enjoyed evenings like this. He thoroughly was a people person and thoroughly enjoyed just coming out and hanging out with folks. And maybe his spirit is alive and well looking down on us. And I know he would have loved an evening just like this.
Didn't Alan Arkish work himself so hard on this movie that he pretty much almost like passed out on set?
I believe Alan may have had a minor heart attack while working on this movie.
When he was like 32.
You know, Alan was the ticket taker in the movie, where he kept the guy who was stoned out and let the mouse in had the earmuffs, that's Alan Arkin. And Joe Dante, who's gone ahead and had a nice career as a filmmaker, he played the professor. He was also in the movie. You see, the history of this is Ron directed Grand Theft Auto for Roger, and Alan Arkish was his second unit director. Now, Alan Arkish was a team player for Roger Corman, and he had been editing trailers and doing editing on some of Roger's movies. And Alan was the guy that sold Roger on the idea of doing a movie like Saturday Night Fever. Now, Roger Corman didn't know the difference between disco and rock and roll. But, you know, if any of you guys know about Roger, if he hears dollar signs, he pays attention. And Saturday Night Fever represented dollar signs. So with the disco craze going on, Roger, I think, kind of sold the idea that Rock and Roll High School was going to be like disco pop. And then they went ahead and got the movie in the works to be made, and of course the title got changed to Rock and Roll High School. Roger made Grand Theft Auto that Ron directed, and that's where I met Alan Arkish, because I was in Grand Theft Auto. And then when Alan got his chance to direct this movie, he called me and asked me if I wanted to play this kooky character, Eagle Bauer. And of course, you know.
Yeah, can you just tell me any more about the hall monitor guys, where they came from, or their story?
Well, now Lauren, if any of you people are going to come tomorrow to see this little horror movie that I worked on called EVILSPEAK, not the heavyset guy, the curly-haired guy, the guy that had the love affair going with Principal Togar. I longed for the feel of your luscious thighs. He's also in EVILSPEAK. It was a great experience. We shot all the interior concert footage at the Roxy, which, you know, I'm an LA guy, and I've seen numerous shows at the Roxy, and that was sort of a thrill for me. And we did all the behind-the-scenes stuff at the Whiskey A Go Go, which is actually not that good of a venue. It's actually a pretty shitty place to watch a band.
The explosion at the end, how big and close was it, and did it scare the shit out of you guys?
Well, Roger Corman hired a guy named Roger George to do all the explosions, and he was about 70 years old. He was a hardcore, old-school guy, and we knew we were going to get a lot of bang for our buck. And we were all prepared that Roger was going to blow the shit out of those pots. You know, of course, we didn't actually blow the school up, but the fires that he created and stuff were all pretty impressive, especially for a little low-budget movie. But we had all had the experience of working with Roger George on Grand Theft Auto, and I saw firsthand the explosions that man could generate. And you know, he was the real deal. It was stand aside. You know, there was no CG or anything. It was stand aside. Roger's going to go boom.